I quickly now want to cut across to Pakistan. Mona Alam is a senior journalist, joins us on this special broadcast. Mona, can you explain to us what Pakistan's Defense Minister Khawaja Asif means when he says this is now an open war?
Thank you, Gaurav. Well, he implies that we've not had a war, a full-fledged war with Afghanistan ever, and it means because they've always been the TTA have always been ensuring and trying to tell Pakistan, and they were trying to convince us all this while that they've got nothing to do with the TTP. But this time around, I think it's as evident as could be that they are indeed the real masters and the real ones who, to whose tunes the TTP dances on. So I think it's very open, it's very explicit this time around, and this is why I think the defense minister implies that if they've also conceded that they are the headmasters of this snake named TTP, then of
Is
course
it alarming
our
for
war is an
Pakistan?
open war against them.
Is it alarming for Pakistan if Taliban drones can hit Islamabad and Abbottabad and Naushehra? The Taliban are able to strike not just along the 2,600-kilometer long Durand Line or in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, but much deeper.
For whatever terrorist attacks that have been happening in Pakistan, whether it was from the TTP or from the Afghan Taliban regime, they've only been using quadcopters. And those two, because in my own understanding and in the understanding of any defense expert or any defense person at the helm of affairs in Pakistan, they do not have any technology that can, that can manufacture quadcopters on its own. So we, of course, know and we suspect and we do think that this also kind of indicates that they're heavily funded from elsewhere. Otherwise, of course, they do not have an air force. Their army or their military size is as good as none as compared to that of Pakistan. So there's no comparison. It's not even apples and oranges. So all of these strikes, and you must have come across this fake news which was peddled by none other than Sky News. It was very alarming for me as well, and I'm sure it must have been for you too, because they'd been claiming that the Afghani Air Force has struck Pakistan. They do not have an air force to begin with. So these claims, they were rather humorous in nature, but they were indeed claims coming from very reputable international channels. And
So stay with me
such
for a
similar
moment,
claims are
because
also
for the
doing
life
rounds on
of
social
us,
media.
we can't understand Pranay. And Mona, stay with me. Taliban was seen as a veritable arm of the Pakistani ISI and deep state. Taliban was nurtured by Pakistan army. They lived in Pakistan for decades. And suddenly, Pakistan is fighting Taliban. Pranay, this just defies logic completely. What could have turned around so completely for the Pakistan army, and why this would be a nightmare for Pakistan? Pranay, the Taliban know where the ISI are, where Pakistan army is, where their locations are when they turn around to fight, and perhaps that's the reason that Pakistan is seeking help from Saudi Arabia, from Qatar, from Turkey, from different countries, help de-escalate, because Pakistan knows there'll be a nightmare ahead.
Gaurav, if Taliban are turning out to be a Frankenstein for Pakistan, they created this Frankenstein. They used Taliban as a tool to gain the strategic depth. And you remember, you showed that picture of Faiz Hamid, taking a cup of tea in Serena Hotel of Kabul immediately after August 2021, when
Yes.
Taliban, gained the power in Kabul. And in fact, Pakistan thought that they have gained a strategic depth. They have achieved their strategic objective by installing a Taliban regime in Kabul, and in fact, they went from country to country, trying convincing in the United Nations as well that we should recognize this is high time. They are the legitimate heir, and now they have turned against Pakistan, and the reason being is that they wanted to use Taliban as their own puppets, which they refused to. Pakistan always wanted Taliban to recognize and to finalize the Durand Line and finish the dispute of Durand Line forever. But that didn't happen. And I think the problem started in 2022-23 when Pakistan first carried out airstrike in the territory of Afghanistan. And any government who is in
Yes.
Kabul, who is in charge of Kabul affairs, can never let any other country, and you know that how Taliban's, or forget about
So
Taliban's,
let me
how
get
Afghans
Mona
are.
to respond. Let me get Mona to respond to a very pertinent point you've raised. The 2,600-kilometer long Durand Line, Mona, nobody in Taliban or nobody in Afghanistan accepts the Durand Line. Is that a nightmare for Pakistan that they want Pashtuns on this side and that side of the Durand Line to unite? Should that happen, Pakistan may just be in deeper trouble, Mona.
Yes, it is of course a big trouble to us, and it is a matter of great concern because we all see the Durand Line as a very legitimate Pak-Afghan border. But unfortunately, that's not the case with Afghanistan. I mean, even when we've had mediations with the Taliban regime in Qatar, as you may recall, they insisted Qatar to, erase or to omit the terminology of Pak-Afghan border from their statement, from their final statement, and they wanted it to be replaced by just Durand Line. I mean, this is exactly what their pivotal plea is, that they do not want Durand Line to be recognized as an official border of between Pakistan and Afghanistan, and hence I think it kind of confirms our allegations on Afghanistan that. Because we know that terror is being exported constantly from Afghanistan to Pakistan, and because our allegations are, and want that border to be sealed, and we want that border to be something which should be monitored, and it should be a regularized border. But they, on the other hand, are constantly insisting since years, not just now, that this should only be
Since
seen as a Durand line, as a official line.
1893, when the Brits drew that border, no Afghan regime has accepted it, Mona. But
That's correct.
it's actually for us victims of terror. When Pakistan talks about terror coming from across the border, it's almost, Pranay, it's almost like irony ties an explosive belt and explodes. Because just now the shoes on the other foot, Pakistan is bleeding right now. All indications, Pranay, that this bleeding could just increase. The manner in which reports indicate that Taliban is rushing in additional forces, men, material, not just to the borders. Should these strikes happen deeper inside Pakistan, it will be a nightmare. Baluchistan burning, KPK burning, it could intensify.
Pakistan seems to be imploding, Gaurav. I can understand, there must be difficulty for even Mona to spell out many things there, because she is in Pakistan. And in fact, if you see what is happening here, that, Taliban has turned hostile against Pakistan. And in fact, who actually, you have to see it in its entirety, that who actually raised up Taliban, who gave Taliban shelter at the time when US invaded Afghanistan. They were carrying out operation against the same Taliban. It was Pakistan. Pakistan also took money, material, military hardware to fight against terrorism, but they harbored these people. They
Yes.
relocated these people. Now Pakistan wanted to push them out. The refugee camps are being targeted. They are being pushed back to Afghanistan. Even at the time, this Ghazb-ul
So
Haq
let me get
operation.
Mona to respond to a very pertinent point that's being raised, Mona. There are many who say that this actually benefits Asim Munir, Pakistan's army chief and field marshal, because he can talk about this war along the AFPAC border and tensions and not send troops to Gaza. So that is why Pakistan, during the holy month of Ramzan, carried out an attack on Afghanistan, killed innocent people, as Taliban put it, 18 of one family, and now there's tension. So Pakistan does not need to send troops to Gaza.
I think it's just a conspiracy theory. I mean, had that been the case, we would have bombed them, or we would have struck them long ago, because we've been facing a spree of attacks by the TTPs, and it happens every day. It was restricted just to the KP, just to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, some months ago, but now it has also infiltrated Punjab and as well as Islamabad. So all these to Afghanistan, or the entire plot, it was made in Afghanistan. And I must confess that now I think I would like to rewind us all back to 2021, when the Americans had left Afghanistan. And I used to be a guest on all your programs, and you used to tell us and convince us that, these Talibans are monsters, they're inhuman. I think, you stand vindicated of your stance. And now we too agree with that. And I must also confess that even in 2021, a lot of political people and elites here in Pakistan at the helm of affairs, or those particularly in opposition, they were always of the view that, we should view TTA and TTP as two sides of the same coin. They're not different entities. They're more and the more or they're
Okay.
one and the same thing. They always used to insist that, but unfortunately or fortunately, as as it may be, the people at the government at back in the day in 2021, particularly Imran Khan and General Faiz Hamid, they were of the opinion that we should have a friendly stance towards the TTP and
Unfortunately, you
TTA.
still do, Mona. Sadly, your country still distinguishes between good terror and bad terror. You
No, we
still take
don't
no action.
anymore, and I
I
think
am waiting to
we've
see
proven
action
through our
against
actions that we don't.
Lashkar-e-Taiba. I'm waiting to see action against Jaish-e-Mohammed. Unless you take action against terror of all hue, one terrorist organization or the other will come and kill you in times to come. And that time it will hurt you more, Mona, because sadly that time it will be happening in Muridke and in Bahawalpur in the heart of Pakistan's Punjab province. And then again, you will tell me that, Gaurav, you're absolutely right. I've always been right because we've been victims of Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror for a very long time. We've woken up. We hope so would you, Mona.
No, you have not. You're,
You
you're
know,
siding with the Taliban, and it's an open
we are,
secret to the world now. This
we
is
are,
exactly what I'm trying to imply, that now we are in your shoes. We agree with what you said in 2021, but you
no,
have
but we've said
gone
that
on
all
back foot,
along. We've
and
said
you
that
have
all
changed your
along.
stance on
There
a
is
180
no
degree
good
level.
terror. It's all bad terror, Mona. So, if you want sympathy from the world, and I'm sure you would, take action against terrorist organizations like Lashkar-e-Taiba. Hafiz Saeed has to be in jail. Masood Azhar has to hang. You have to take action against all terrorists. But sadly, should you do that, there will be more Imam Bargas that
We'll
will
see
happen in
more
the heart of
escalation.
Pakistan's Punjab province. Isn't that the case? That Pakistan is now caught and their army will still not wake up, Pranay. Last 30 seconds that I have on this part of the show.
I think Pakistan army has never learned its lesson, and they will always play these games. And that's why Pakistan's Defense Minister Khawaja Asif had to say that, how they got used as a toilet paper by the powers, and they are still going for this game. And we can only wish better luck to people of Pakistan, those and sane people in Pakistan, those who want to have a better ties with their neighbors, and those who want to live peacefully. Unfortunately, their military establishment has always used terror as a tool of foreign policy, and they are again engaging in this game. All sorts of theories are being given out, that of a regime change in Kabul,
Yes.
to offering Bagram airbase again to Pakistan, to Americans, and even playing games with the Chinese, and asking them to invest more in
Well,
Afghanistan and
we'll
Pakistan.
be watching every game that is being played. Mona, stay safe. Many thanks for joining me.